You're watching Reality Check. 4 months after the centre's 3 controversial farm laws were scrapped, a fresh controversy has erupted after one of the members of a Supreme Court appointed panel to examine the laws released the report in which it was claimed that a majority of Indian farmers, close to 90%, backed the law. Now, just to recap, the panel had been set up by the Supreme Court after several groups challenged the law in court. The panel, made up amongst others of agricultural experts like Ashok Gulati and Pramod Joshi, who were seen as having taken pro-farm law positions even before being appointed to the committee. One of the reasons most of the protesting farmers stayed away from appearing before them. Regardless, the panel went through its own cycle of consultations and submitted its report a year ago to the court, but it was never made public. In December last year, as we know, the government formally scrapped the laws, making that report redundant. But a day ago, one of the members of the panel released the report saying the people deserved to know the truth, which, as per the report, is that a silent majority of farmers supported the farm laws. So we put the report through a reality check and found several loopholes in how this silent majority claim has been arrived at. The report said, as I mentioned, claim number 1, 86% farmers supported the farm laws. But remember, anti-farm law groups boycotted the panel. The report said that the silent majority is in favor of the farm laws. But essentially, as we know, if we go on to the next slide, that it is basically the committee largely speaking to only one side. Claim number 2. The report claimed 61 farm groups representing over 3 crore farmers supported the laws. But reality check, no details were shared of who these groups are. Very large numbers, by the way, in the report. Claim number 3 in the report, they said they received close to 20,000 responses to an online questionnaire, many of which were in support of the law. Reality check, only about 5,000 are farmers. The remaining 12,500 are described as other stakeholders, with again no clear details as to who they are. So I spoke earlier to Anil Ghanwat. Now he is the gentleman, a member of the Supreme Court panel who actually leaked or released this report in the public domain, and I spoke to him to understand how are they making these claims given, as we found, these multiple discrepancies. I am joined now by one of the co-authors, in fact the gentleman who released the report, Anil Ghanwat साहब हमारे साथ हैं, joining us from Maharashtra शेतकरी संगठन, which is a farmers organization से आप जुड़े हुए हैं. बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद अनिल जी, थैंक यू फॉर जॉइनिंग अस.
हाँ नमस्ते. नमस्ते जी.
नमस्ते. तो आपने ये रिपोर्ट रिलीज कर दी या लीक कर दी, जो भी कहा, कैसे कहा जा सकता है, बिकॉज क्योंकि इसको आप कह रहे थे, मैंने आपके इंटरव्यूज देखे, आप फ्रस्ट्रेटेड थे कि ये रिपोर्ट सुप्रीम कोर्ट के पास थी, इसको बाहर नहीं रिलीज किया जा रहा था. लेकिन अब जैसे आपने ये रिपोर्ट सामने रखा है, आपने कहा है कि 86% फार्मर्स ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस ने इन फार्म लॉज को सपोर्ट किया है, इफ आई एम करेक्ट. लेकिन जी, बट सवाल ये उठ रहा है कि ये कहा जा रहा है क्योंकि जो प्रोटेस्टिंग फार्मर्स ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस थे वो आपको मिलने से उन्होंने रिफ्यूज कर दिया था, बिकॉज दे फेल्ट दैट दिस पैनल वाज बायस्ड, ऑल ऑफ यू वर एनीवे प्रो द फार्म लॉ, सो दे डिडंट मीट यू. तो आपने बाकी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन से मिलकर आप इस कंक्लूजन पे पहुंचे हैं. तो ये सवाल उठा जा रहा है कि ये कैसे फेयर एनालिसिस है कि आपने तो एक पूरे साइड से मिले ही नहीं. You only met farmers who are in support of it, और इस बेसिस पे आप कह रहे हैं कि 86% are in support.
Actually, we had invited 266 farmer organizations, including the SKM leaders.
Right.
But they had decided to not to interact with the committee. So, and we had called them personally. We sent text messages, we sent WhatsApp messages, and we have all the record. And they just denied meeting us. So we had to interact with those who were ready to interact with us. And the figure is 73 because it was a COVID period. And
Sorry?
many of... Hello?
Yes, go ahead.
many of the farmer leaders couldn't travel to Delhi because of the COVID situation prevailing those days. And there were network issues for some farmer organizations. But out of those who had interacted with us, out of the 73, 61 had clearly supported the laws and with some suggestions. And there were a few, almost 14, 15 organizations who clearly said that we just want to repeal, we don't want to discuss anything. These are...
No, but do you feel, fair enough, while you may have made all efforts to reach out to the protesting farmers organizations, do you not feel that this is not a representative report then? Because you've essentially largely met people only from one side.
So what's the other alternative? The government had done an effort, the Honorable Supreme Court had done an effort to speak with everybody. If these people have denied, it's not the fault of the government, not of the Honorable Supreme Court, nor our committee.
Not the fault. I'm saying in your report, have you made it clear that this is not a representative view? This is largely the view only of one side.
No, it's not a view of one side. All the farmer organizations who had come to the committee, they had put in their view. They were not one-sided. The major, if we do this exercise again, and 1,000 organizations are invited, I think that there also you will find the same result.
No, sir. You just said if you have two sides in a debate, one side is boycotting or not coming, you largely speak to the other, and then you come up with a finding on the basis of that. That surely can't be representative.
So if these people wanted to have the representation, they should have come. So
no, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying you. Then you should have. I'm saying you could have clarified that in your report, saying this is what we've come up with, but it's not representative because we largely only spoke to one side. But you're saying, but then you're contradicting yourself and saying no, it isn't one-sided, but it sort of is. But anyway.
Okay.
Let me ask you this though. Okay, let me ask you this, that even if this is something that Yogendra Yadav has raised in one of his tweets, that even if they didn't come to you, is there a way that you could have gone to meet them because they were all sitting in the open, quite accessible, or you could have had someone survey their views?
There were security issues. The 26th January, that ordeal, that incident was there, and there were security issues. So we were not allowed to go to the agitation site. That was the problem. Otherwise, we had decided to go and have langar with our friends there. But the situation deteriorated, and due to the security issues, we didn't go to them. And now the time is not gone.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, there was, of course, Republic Day, but by and large, they were sitting there for months. It was a peaceful protest. But there's another question which has come up, which is that you said that you met 61 farmer organizations representing 3.3 crore farmers, which is a pretty big number, but apparently you've not shared details of who these organizations are.
They are available with the Supreme Court, and we can share it later if the arrangements are made. Nothing is kept under cover. The whole procedure.
When you say it's with the Supreme Court, it's when you say it's with the Supreme Court, you've actually kind of released the report in public. So then why not release the names of the organizations that you met?
Oh, there's no harm. Actually, I don't know who is in possession of that data. Whoever is, he can go ahead and release it too. Or you can demand it under the RTI. That will be available, and each moment, each minute of the proceeding.
I'm saying you met these people. You mean to say the names of these organizations are not included in your report?
No, these names are not included.
Why
But
not, if I may ask?
those can be provided. I don't know why. Maybe we had to keep the report short, but they can be made available. They can be made available.
I see.
Each
The
minute of the
okay.
proceedings have been video recorded.
Okay.
Everything has
The other
been
question.
recorded, so that can be made available.
All right. The other question which has come up is about this figure that you cite, 3.3 crore farmers supporting the farm laws. The estimate for the number of farmers in India is between 9 to 15 crores. 3 crore farmers comes to only between 20 to 40% of farmers. So it's not strictly 86%. It may be 86% of people you met, but it's not 86% of all farmers in India.
No, I'm not saying that it's 86% of the farmers. 86% of the organizations who interacted with the committee, that's the percentage given there. And the figure, 3.3 crore, comes from what the organization leader has said. We asked them how many members are there in your organizations, and they would say 50,000, 1 lakh, 2 lakh, 3 lakhs. And that was what was given. And all of them were asked, even those who had opposed the laws, they had also given their figures. You can ask those people who had come into the committee meeting and been interviewed.
Well, we can't because we don't know who you met. You haven't released the names. But now just one other point, because you also got responses to your online questionnaire. You got, according to the report, close to 20,000 responses.
Yeah.
But according to, again, this has been analysis by Yogendra Yadav, you can tell me if it's right or wrong, that only about 5,000 were farmers. Close to 13,000, but 12,500 were non-farmers.
They are stakeholders too. It's not necessarily they have to be farmers. They can be citizens, they can be, it was an open portal, so anybody could respond to it. So that was the, and the stakeholders, the stakeholders also have, they are going to benefit or they are going to lose. So they have a right to interact with the committee, and they have it through that dedicated portal.
Who are these stakeholders? Who are they? What's their identity?
They are traders, they are exporters, they are processors, millers, ginners. Anybody who deals in agriculture is a stakeholder, and he has put in his views here. He has contributed.
So there are details of who these people are?
Of course, of course.
Okay, because is it part of the report?
Yeah, it's a part of the report. We have given
the identities of these people.
Yeah, we have their names, their phone numbers, everything is there.
Okay. In conclusion though, Ghanwat Saab, the fact is that the government has repealed the laws. So in that sense, is this whole exercise sort of infructuous?
Of course, it's infructuous. The laws are repealed. So the report is irrelevant today, may we say.
But why did you then kind of leak it or make it public?
But the sufferings are for farmers are not over. We can't fill on with this system anymore. We have to have some change. We need a change. We need reforms, and this process has to continue to form reforms get reforms for agriculture. So we are going to continue with our agitation now.
With your agitation. Okay, all right. Ghanwat Saab, thank you very much indeed for joining us on NDTV. Thanks very much.
Thanks for inviting me. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. That was Mr. Ghanwat there joining us on Reality Check. And let's now also go across to our panel. We have Yogendra Yadav with us, who is of course closely associated with the farm protests, and we also have with us Ashok Thakur, we earlier knew him in his avatar as a BJP supporter, but now I believe he's with NAFED. Is that correct, Ashok Thakur? आप NAFED के साथ हैं आजकल, National Federation. Yes. So, Yogendra Yadav.
NAFED since 2014.
Yes. Since 2014. Right. Yogendra Yadav, just to ask you, I don't know if you had a chance to hear a bit of what Anil Ghanwat was saying, that essentially he says, look, you know, the farm protesting organizations didn't come to see us. So what could we do? We've spoken to all these groups and a large number of them are in support of the law. That's where we've got this 86% figure from.
Vasu, I actually wish to thank Mr. Ghanwat for lifting the veil of mystery around this report and for exposing. Otherwise, it would have taken an investigative journalist like you to bring out this fraud in public. So what he has exposed is, number one, now we know why the Supreme Court was so reluctant to actually bring this report out. They must have been deeply embarrassed by the quality of this report. We also now know why the decision of the Sanyukta Kisan Morcha to boycott this committee was so completely justified. And we also know why this report is so dangerous. It would have been comical, it would have been infructuous, if only it was not so devilish. I heard your conversation very clearly, Vasu, and it establishes a few things absolutely clear. Number one, the report has no business whatsoever to claim that this percent of farmers of this country support the laws. Anyone who knows basics of sampling, I hope, and I was deeply embarrassed to see that economists like Ashok Gulati ji, Joshi ji, these are people who clearly know their mathematics and sampling. For them to put their signature on something so trashy, your conversation clearly brings out that the committee spoke only to those who happened to come to them, that they did not speak to a single farmers organization that was protesting. And remember, the mandate from the Supreme Court was that they were there for listening to the grievances of the farmers. So those who had a grievance did not come and meet them. Those who had no grievance come and meet them. And the committee says, oh, sab changa si, everyone is so happy. Now, I do not blame them because we refuse to meet them. Of course, I do not blame the committee. But as you rightly point out, in that case, the committee could have, one, reported a failure to the Supreme Court. Sorry, those who have a grievance did not come to us. Or the committee could have said, well, we are giving you opinion of those who did not have a grievance. Sorry, we are in no position to give you the other side. That would have only been an honest statement. Or committee could have actually gone and say, to hell with these farmers organization, we will go and speak to these protesting farmers who are there on the street. If every journalist in this country could meet them, why could not this committee? Or they could have actually simply done a professional survey. And indeed, these surveys were done at that point. Vasu, I would be very happy to share all the findings of the survey done by CSDS. They are in the public domain, which demonstrate that in every single state, the predominant majority was against this. And finally, your conversation also brings out that of the 19,000 interviews that they are supposed to have conducted, I mean, people filled those questionnaires. He conceded that only 5,000 of them were farmers. And Vasu, if you did that in class 12 statistics, your teacher would throw the book at you. If you were to merge these groups and say, let me give you the overall finding of these 19,000 people about farmers. Incidentally, only 5,000 of them are farmers. Your teacher would have said, go back, do a cross step, tell me what farmers said and what non-farmers said. These elementary things have not been done, and that's why it's bogus. But more than bogus, it's dangerous because this committee also goes into things which it was not its business to get into.
Let me come on that. Let me come into the other things in a second, because let me just get Ashok ji in. So Ashok ji, that's the whole point, that when you have only one-sided view, then how can a committee then go before the court or even come out in public and say silent majority is in support of the law, when you've only spoken to one side? It defies logic, as they say.
Srinivaji, first of all, I think the statement of my friend Yogendra Yadav is contradictory to his own statements before. But one thing I want to say here, that the decision of the Suyukt Kisan Morcha for not appearing before the committee constituted by the Honorable Court I think it was totally unjustified and undemocratic.
Okay, come to the report though. We are not on that.
In democracy,
Ashok ji, we are not on that, because all this is now water under the bridge. We are simply on the fact about how a report can come out and say silent majority is pro the laws when it is largely only spoken to one side. As I said,
that's why I am telling that if देखिए श्रीनिवास जी, अगर कंसेंसस कराया होता तो मेजॉरिटी ऑफ द फार्मर्स जो है रिफॉर्म्स के साथ में जाते, और ये सिर्फ किसान मोर्चा जानता था इस बात को, इसलिए उन्होंने उसको पार्टिसिपेट नहीं किया।
नहीं अशोक जी, बात कुछ और कह रहा हूं मैं। अगर आपको एक काम दिया गया है कि लोगों से बात करके अलग अलग राय लें, आप सिर्फ एक तरफा राय देते हैं और उसको आप सत्य बताते हैं, ये तो कहीं नहीं चलेगा ना, किसी भी लॉजिक में नहीं चलेगा। या तो आप उसको प्रस्तुत करते, एक सेकेंड, एज आई आस्क्ड गनवट साहब, उसको आप प्रस्तुत करते वक्त कहते कि हमारे को सिर्फ एक ही राय मिली, तो ये रिपोर्ट इनकम्प्लीट है, इसमें कोई मायने नहीं रखता, क्योंकि अदर साइड बॉयकॉटेड अस, हम उस पर कुछ कर नहीं पाए, सो हम प्रेजेंट कर रहे हैं। आप इसको उस दृष्टि से लीजिए, उन्होंने वो भी नहीं कहा। दे कुड हैव सेड वी ट्राइड टू कंडक्ट एन एक्सरसाइज, वी फेल्ड, ये भी नहीं कहा। ये कह रहे हैं कि यही सच है।
आप मुझे बताइए, ये कमेटी की जो रिपोर्ट्स है वो पूरा उन्होंने प्रोसीजर किया है, उसमें सभी पक्षों को कॉल किया है, और एक पक्ष जो धक्काशाही करना चाह रहा था, जो डेमोक्रेसी के साथ नहीं जा रहा था, वो केवल ये कहता था कि हम इसको रिफॉर्म्स को नहीं मानते हैं। ये धक्काशाही थी। अगर आप वास्तव में अगर इसके पक्ष में थे, आपको लगता था कि आपका पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू सही है, तो आपको जाना चाहिए था। एक्चुअल में अभी इस रिपोर्ट से फैक्ट निकल कर आया है, सुन लीजिए, इस रिपोर्ट से एक फैक्ट जो निकल कर आया वो बिल्कुल क्लियर है कि रिफॉर्म्स पर किसानों का कोई ऑब्जेक्शन नहीं था। ये जो संयुक्त किसान मोर्चा था, दे कुड सक्सीड ओनली टू कन्विंस द फार्मर्स ऑफ पंजाब, हरियाणा एंड पार्ट ऑफ उत्तर प्रदेश that if this reforms is
अशोक जी, ये वो बात हो गई कि एक लागू कर दिए, नहीं, मान लीजिए NDTV, मान लीजिए हम एक इलेक्शन में सर्वे ले रहे हैं कि कोई बीजेपी को वोट कर रहे हैं या कांग्रेस को, सिर्फ बीजेपी वाले हमसे बात करते हैं, हम उसके बेसिस पे आंकड़े छाप दें, तो आप वो इसको वो मैं ये वाली मैं पॉइंट है। बट एनीवे, मेरा सवाल ये है कि
NDTV अगर सर्वे करता है, सुन लीजिए,
नहीं मैं कह रहा हूं कि अगर सिर्फ एक ही साइड हमसे बात करता है, दूसरा नहीं, तो हम उसको छापेंगे थोड़ा ना। बट मेरा लास्ट सवाल आपसे, एक सेकेंड, मेरा सवाल ये सुन लीजिए, नहीं मेरा सवाल ये सुन लीजिए कि अगर आप इस रिपोर्ट को अब सत्य मान रहे हैं, दिस रिपोर्ट इज एक्चुअली विद द सुप्रीम कोर्ट, ही इज रिलीज्ड इट, अगर आप इसको सही मान रहे हैं, तो फिर एक और अजीब बात आ जाती है, दैट मीन्स गवर्नमेंट repealed the law which a majority of farmers were supporting.
हाँ बिल्कुल, मैं श्रीनिवास जी फिर कह रहा हूँ,
how can a government, no but how you mean to say the government has repealed a law which so the government is actually against farmers then, if you're repealing a law which majority farmers want?
Government
look at the political trap here of your argument.
सरकार जो है वो फार्मर्स के खिलाफ नहीं, फार्मर्स के पक्ष में थी, उनकी पॉलिटिकल कंपल्सन था, और इस तरह का माहौल क्रिएट कर दिया गया था एक पक्ष के द्वारा कि वो अपनी बात को जबरदस्ती बनाना चाहते थे, और डेमोक्रेटिक सिस्टम को, डेमोक्रेटिक प्रोसीजर्स को, सुप्रीम कोर्ट की कमेटी को ओवरलुक किया गया।
ठीक है, लास्ट वर्ड योगेंद्र यादव। यस,
मैं केवल मेरी श्रीनिवास जी, मेरी बात
एक सेकंड, लास्ट को बोलने दीजिए, बिकॉज़ उनको चांस ले
नहीं, मैं एक बात अपनी कह दूं, इस पूरे आंदोलन से जो बात निकल कर आई है,
ठीक है, ओके, yes, Yogendra, yes.
I find the most dangerous thing about this committee's report is not only the folly of claiming representation of farmers when it has absolutely none. The real danger thing is that this committee goes beyond its remit and gives a recommendation on MSP. Basically, the committee is saying we are doing too much of procurement in Punjab, in Haryana. In general, we are doing too much of procurement. Bring it down. Remember, farmers all over the country are saying, please increase your procurement. This report says, please bring it down. And this report is also saying, why are you actually giving food grain to the poor?
Okay.
Just give them cash transfer.
Right.
So basically, it's a blueprint for dismantling of MSP and PDS.
Right.
This is what is so dangerous about this report.
Okay, all right. That's another dimension altogether, and we'll get into that at some point. But we're out of time. Thank you both so much for joining us. We'll come back to this, Ashok ji, and we'll have you back. But for now, I'm told we're completely out of time. Thank you for watching. Good night.